Hello. Good. Yes. I thought you might be.
So I'm doing this one.
Beautiful.
So
Now
what?
there's two spots.
Yeah.
We can do the reading.
Yeah.
I might get you in that.
Yeah.
And I'll just do the opening reading. That's fine.
Okay.
All good.
Yeah. So you're doing that one.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yep. And you're doing.
So it's just the reading will be just me.
Yep. Perfect. Yep, I've got you down. All
No
good.
worries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will.
Okay, so it's not the common question. So I'll just let Sharon know that.
I'll just check. Let me check.
There's head reflection. I haven't got my glasses. We thought that. Yeah, okay, so that's a slideshow. I'll just tell her. No worries.
Too difficult to manage everyone.
That's right. And then once all that's done, Pascal's saying he did all the interment.
Yeah, perfect.
Very
Very
I'll let Sharon
good.
know that. Yeah.
So bring it out.
gentlemen, we will be starting the service in just a minute or so. Before we start though, can I just ask that you do check your mobile telephones and pop them on silent, just so we don't have any interruptions during the service.
Talk about, take those pictures down, check it out. Truth or consequence, say it aloud. Use that evidence, race it around. There goes my hero, watch him as he goes. There goes my hero, he's ordinary. Don't the best of them read it out, while the rest of them peter out. Truth or consequence, say it aloud. Use that evidence, race it around. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. There goes my hero. He's ordinary. Kudos my hero, leaving all the mess. You know my hero, one that's on. There goes my hero, watch him as he goes. There goes my hero, he's ordinary. There goes my hero, watch him as he goes. There goes my hero, he's ordinary.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Susan Gavran, and I'm the celebrant who has been asked to conduct this very special service here today. And I would like to thank all of Steve's family for entrusting me with this celebration of his life. Thank you all. Well, family and friends, we have all been brought together here today to farewell, but also, just as importantly, to remember, reflect and celebrate the life of our dearly loved Stephen Norman Emmett, or Steve, Dad, Poppy Steve and Granddad, as he was also known to family and friends. Steve has moved on from this life, a life lovingly shared with everyone here, from his adoring family members and special friends in the chapel and those outside, and of course those watching from home. Today, seemingly numbed by the pain of his loss, we can't imagine how to make this very special service for Steve say all the things we really want it to say. But we shouldn't try to do that here today, because our lifetime of experiences and emotions couldn't possibly convey everything that we do feel in our hearts. But let today help remind us all that we can continually, in our everyday lives, show him and give thanks to Steve for everything he truly meant to those who knew and loved him. I hope today we will all be uplifted and enlightened as we're reminded of the wonderful man that Steve was to us all. Let us bring to mind the part of him that he so willingly gave to us. But I think just as importantly, we should all be reminded of the Steve that will go on living in all of us. I know he would not want those of us present here today to mourn his loss, but rather that we spend this time together reflecting on his life and, of course, remembering all those cherished moments that we were so fortunate enough to share with him. Well, we know that Steve was certainly loved by many throughout his life, but none more so than by his family. In life, Steve was a much-loved son to his late parents, Norman and Jean, a loved brother to his sisters, Laura and Ruth, and their families, a beloved husband and partner in love and life to Doreen, a loved and loving father and father-in-law to Daniel and Lee, Louise and Mark, and Ryan, and Doreen's children, Anthony and Sarah and Nicole, a cherished grandfather to Ashley, Brielle, Hallie, Miller, Jai, Maisie, Ruby and Benji, and Bradley, Madison, Cameron, Lily, Ruby, Courtney and Mackenzie, and great-grandfather to little Everly. Now, to mention all of Steve's friends throughout his life here today would simply be impossible. And those lucky enough to call Steve a friend in life certainly know how fortunate and very blessed they are. Now, we also acknowledge that sadly, due to the coronavirus restrictions and travel restrictions, there are many family and friends who can't join us at this time. But thankfully, due to the live streaming of the service, they are able to join us. So firstly, we thank those that are outside watching the service. I know it means the world to the family to know that you came knowing that you actually couldn't come into the chapel. And we also welcome those that are watching from home and hope you feel very much a part of this very special celebration of Steve's life. So we come together today to share and to speak of Steve's life through the eyes of his loving family. And before I invite Daniel to come forward to share his special words and the early years of Dad's life with us, I'd like to open with a beautiful reading, and it's called A Life Well Lived. A life well lived is a precious gift of hope and strength and grace from someone who has made our world a brighter, better place. It's filled with moments sweet and sad, with smiles and sometimes tears, with friendships formed and good times shared and laughter through the years. A life well lived is a legacy of joy and pride and pleasure, a living, lasting memory our grateful hearts will treasure. So I'd now like to invite Daniel to come forward to share his words with us. Thanks, Daniel.
Steve Emmett or Dad? Heartbreaking at loss of Steve and Dad, so precious, a member of our families and dear friend of many. When we think of him, we remember a cheerful, kind and generous man, a man with a sense of adventure and a hard worker with a sensitive soul. Our dad, Stephen Norman Emmett, was born to Gina Norman Emmett 2nd December 1950 in Lancashire, in north of England. He had an older sister, Laura, with whom he has remained close, and a younger sister, Ruth, who lives in England. Dad attended a public school and a grammar school in Lancashire, where he proved to be a very bright student, often vying with his best mate for first place in exams. As a young teenager, he loved to go away for weekends train spotting. He would excitedly wait for a steam train to pass and log the train reference numbers in his records. He spent many happy weekends travelling the countryside, enjoying the outdoors and being rewarded when the locomotive he sought thundered past. Dad still talked enthusiastically about those days many years later. Dad attended a college in England studying civil engineering. When he was partway through his course, his parents decided to emigrate to Australia. Dad was adamant that he did not want to go, as he had a good life with friends, social activities and his studies. He did, however, decide to sail with them and his sister Laura on the ship Fair Star, arriving in Australia in 1968. They moved into a hostel, Bradfield Park, at Linfield on Sydney's North Shore. Dad was unable to continue his civil engineering course and so searched for work. He decided to take a job as a jackaroo at a huge country property, a position that required good horse riding skills. However, as he'd never been on a horse before, he soon found himself trying various remedies for blisters from the station cook every night. Methylated spirits was his favourite. He worked there for some time, living alone in a little hut with no amenities, out in the middle of nowhere. He became very independent and self-sufficient. Dad had made many good friends with the station owners and workers alike, and eventually could even ride a horse. But he began to miss the city life, so moved back to the North Shore of Sydney. At this time, his parents decided that Australia was not the place for them, and they returned to England. Dad had established a new life and had no wish to return. He was now working as a forklift driver and had made many friends. He met Mum in 1969 and soon became part of her family, just like a son to Joy and Adrian, Mum's parents. Dad's happy, jovial, easygoing nature and willingness to help others ensured a close relationship was formed with Mum's siblings, Ian, Karen, Russell, Grant, Randall and brother-in-law Paul Irving. He used to play football in the front yard of Mum's home at Roseville with the boys, most of whom were rugby union players, who would throw the ball too high to catch and tackled Dad every time. They laughed and joked around on many occasions. Dad part of the family now. Ever the adventurer, Dad even had a go at playing rugby union a few times with the boys, unheard for a soccer player. Dad was not only there for the good times but also for the bad. He was rock steady for support from Mum and her family when Mum's youngest brother passed away in 1976, a close and present strength. The next job Dad had was Ricky's labourer, a hard job from someone in England not used to hot summers and scorching sun. He was unrecognisable as a long-haired blonde. In 1971, Dad changed occupations again and got a job as a trainee landscape gardener, working for Dowking Landscapes. This is where he found his passion for gardening. He learnt so much about plants, gardening and landscape design, talents that he developed and carried with him for life. He passed these talents on to Louise, whose love of gardening is evident in the flourishing gardens that she has created with her partner Mark. At this landscaping job, as was his way, he made many friends with the boss and family. His work ethic admired and appreciated. Dad and Mum married in 1973 and bought a house in Riverston. It was here that they met Barry and Gay and Doreen and Graham and became great friends. They moved to Schofields in 1977 and had their first child, me, in October of that year. Louise was born in 1981 and Ryan in 84. Dad was a dedicated and involved father, one who adored his children and participated in all aspects of family life, from night shift when babies were restless, to nappy changing, cleaning, cooking, always with a glass of red wine of course, spending time with the kids and later running the business. Grandad Norman made many visits from England to see Dad, the first shortly after I was born and also later when Dad had moved to Gondolin. They shared some great times together, many of which will remain censored. As we children grew, Dad continued to participate keenly in family life, patiently accepting the secret tattoos, strange hair colours and cuts, and even staying calm when arriving home after a weekend away to find a new glass in the window and a room freshly painted. We'd held a secret party that obviously got out of hand. Patient Daddy was. The family had many happy holidays at the beach and many memorable birthday celebrations and Christmases. Eventually he wanted to be his own boss and in the mid-1980s began a lawn mowing business. He worked hard to build the business, which became well established and profitable. I worked for him on Saturday mornings and had to work very hard, always complained that he didn't pay me enough. Dad had many clients, private and commercial, and as usual, made some special friendships along the way. As soccer had been his favourite sport in England, Dad decided to join the Riverston Schofields Gunners Club. He loved the sport and the camaraderie. Uncle Barry was also in the team, such an enduring and special friend. He trained and played hard, a competitive and enthusiastic team member. So enthusiastic, in fact, that he had to leave the hospital soon after the birth of Ryan to play in the grand final. Dad also encouraged Ryan and I to play and coach the children's team. He would turn up to school carnivals and games with a video camera, proud of the efforts of all of his children. The other sport that he enjoyed in England was fishing. He would fly fish in the rivers and spend many weekends outdoors, enjoying the peace and quiet. Laura shared the following with us. Always enthusiastic, on the early morning of a fishing trip, Dad shimmied up a drain pipe to get his mate who had slept in. Problem was, a police officer saw him and thought that he was a burglar. Dad was to find fishing in Australia very different to that in England. No longer the calm waters and light tackle, but now the rocks and the ocean. Catching his own bait and snaring huge, that's what he said, fish, and amazing love of the ocean environment developed deep within his soul. He passed this on to Ryan and I, who spent many weekends on the rocks at Catherine Hill Bay with him, camping out, lighting fires, cooking and searching for the big one. Really, it didn't matter what we caught. We all loved these trips just for the experience of being out on the rocks together and sitting by the ocean fishing. Dad even managed to get Louis to join us on the odd occasion, but was not able to pass on his love for the sport with her. He did, however, share many of these great times with a partner, Mark, whom he had developed a close and loving bond. They shared many a long phone call discussing fishing, cricket, football, amongst many other things. Some of the special times Dad spent with Louise were in the early mornings at home. They were both early risers and would sit together in the quiet of the morning while everyone else was still asleep, have breakfast and talk. In 2000 he went to work for Hills Grammar School on the grounds maintenance team, where he enjoyed steady work in a lovely environment. Dad loved birds and animals, and on a number of occasions brought home stray dogs and injured birds. One time a parrot landed on the road outside the house and Dad put birdseed on his head to catch it. We kids thought he was crazy, but sure enough, the bird landed safely on his head. Dad had always been calm and relaxed with us. Well, usually. My wife Lee said he always put a smile on her face. He was the same with his grandchildren. He loved them all dearly. He enjoyed their antics, watching, listening, talking to them, seeing each one as an individual. Lee said she saw him as a beautiful, loving puppy. He was a wonderful dad, one who loved and encouraged us, and one who worked hard for our family. He endeared in us a love of the environment, a sense of responsibility and a fine work ethic, and a love for family. I sent the following email to Dad a few weeks before his passing. It reads, "Hi old boy, just sitting down at the water again, watching the moon going down and anticipating how beautiful the sunrise will be. It's bringing back so many amazing memories back to me this morning. It's almost overwhelming. I'm writing this because I want you to know that every time I sit here waiting for the sun, it takes me back to all of those best memories of my life. Funnily enough, they're always sitting on a rock, taking in that moment and feeling free, alive and so tired from the walk into the rocks that nothing really mattered except seeing the magic of the beginning of a new day. Catching a fish was always a bonus, but looking back, it's a time we spent together in those moments that I'll never forget. You've made me everything I am today, old boy, which is just a younger, uglier version of you, something I'm very proud of, and I hope you are too. You're the best that a kid could ever hope for. I love you, the whole world, mate." Dad had a positivity about life, a passion for getting up early and making the most of every day. We lost a unique and precious father and friend. He's irreplaceable in our lives. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Daniel, for sharing your memories and those of the families. Beautiful tribute. Well, now I'd like to speak on behalf of Doreen. As much as she would have loved to have got up here today, she's asked me to read her tribute. "My life with Steve has been a wonderful journey. I will forever be grateful for our lives together. We have been lucky enough to have been able to travel and experience new and fun places together. We travelled the Great Ocean Road, many trips to Queensland, Hyams Beach. We prospected in Nundle. We travelled on the Indian Pacific train with Steve's sister Laura and Russell and friends to Perth, which we loved. Steve's love for any animal was prevalent in the number of birds we fed and still feed today. Our beloved dogs that have since passed, and his best friend Coco, who was always by his side until the end. We are so proud of the home that we have built and the love that surrounds us from all our children, grandchildren, great-granddaughter, friends, and friends who have become family. Boxing Day was our biggest family day. It was a day that we looked forward to every single year, knowing that all our families would be together at one time, and Steve loved that it was at our home. The day is always filled with laughter, water fights, and love. I'm so proud of how he took on the role of grandfather, shopper, and cook. I would come home from work late and there would be kids everywhere, in the pool, running around the yard, and he was in his element, and nothing was a bother to him with the kids. When each day was done, we would sit down on the deck and take in the day and talk about what we did at work and what the weekend would hold. These are some of our greatest memories, just being together on our deck. We have made many changes to our home over the years. We've renovated inside and out and rolled many layers of turf in the backyard. We had a pool, then no pool, then a pool again. We loved our gardens and even appreciated when Mark, aka Derek, would come to trim the bushes bare. Steve was a very hard worker. He enjoyed his role working with the crew cuts team at Arimba University, which spanned over 15 years. He provided such joy to the guys he worked with. He had patience and empathy, and I have no doubt touched each of their hearts even after he retired. The last 3 years for Steve have been a very hard road. Never did we think that this would happen to him, and the impact to his mobility would take from him the one thing that he loved most in life, and that was fishing. His whole life changed as MND progressed. It was most definitely his hardest challenge, and most definitely mine, to have to watch his decline. It has been an honour to be able to look after Steve during these difficult times. His body may have declined, but his mind was still Steve, and for that we were grateful. I would like to thank Steve for the wonderful life we had and for loving me as much as I loved him. Let us take a moment to now listen to Doreen's very special tribute song to her Steve.
When I think back on these times and the dreams we left behind, I'll be glad 'cause I was blessed to get to have you in my life. When I look back on these days, I'll look and see your face. You were right there for me. In my dreams I'll always see you soar above the sky. In my heart there'll always be a place for you for all my life. I'll keep a part of you with me, and everywhere I am there you'll be.
Thanks so much, Doreen, for those beautiful words and that lovely tribute. Well, now I'd like to invite Lily to come forward to share some special words. Thanks, Lily.
You look very pretty today were the last words Granddad had said to me. Those words now mean the world to me and will forever have a special place in my heart. The 14th of September was the hardest day for me, losing the most loved person. Granddad had always been there for me on my good and bad days. I will never forget Granddad teaching me how to make his homemade pancakes I would make for him every Saturday morning. I would be so excited when I had a new song to sing to him. He would listen to me sing with a huge smile on his face. He always made me feel so special. The bond that Granddad and I shared will never change. He will always be my Granddad and my favourite person. I miss walking into Granny and Granddad's and laying with him watching his fishing shows and just being in his company. Granddad would take us to the bogey hole in summer and it was one of my special places. He would carry me on his back the whole way in. The best memories I had were being with Granddad and I'll forever cherish them until we meet again. Love always and forever.
Okay. This is on behalf of Anthony. I was lucky to have Steve in my life. Steve was my godfather, he then became my stepfather, and then granddad to my girls. Steve was a great husband to Mum, and she more than showed over the last few years how much she loves Steve. Her caring nature is second to none. His love for his grandkids was lovely. Mackenzie would often love to help Mum with her caring nature, to care for Granddad. He loved teaching them how to fish. Nothing was ever a problem for Steve. If I wanted to go fishing, the gear would be ready to loan out, or he would come out with me or any friend I wanted to bring with me. Any friend of ours was always welcome at Mum and Steve's. Thank you, Steve, Granddad, for loving us. Then this is on behalf of me. Steve and I would have some wonderful chats over the years. We both really enjoyed these. This is something that I will miss. His knowledge of music was unbelievable. He would always challenge me with the title and artist. Fair to say, I was not good at this. We both have a love of chocolate. He would always share his stash with me. He loved watching Courtney play soccer and throw the discus. His proudest moment was when she won gold at Homebush. Memories are what we will all have, and peace is where he is now.
You're right.
Granddad, what an amazing man he was. He was a caring, kind, funny person and loved his family very much. We had a lot of memories.
That are unspeakable. Come on, sweetie. You want to finish?
We had a lot of memories that are unspeakable. But the first memory that I can remember very well with Granddad was when we went to the bogey hole. He was walking us there, and when we got there, I was amazed of how beautiful the scenery was. When everyone went into the water, I was one of the kids who got really scared. Granddad came up to me and said, "Courtney, it's okay, nothing is going to hurt you. Mum and Granny will be there too." After he said that, I had a big smile on my face and wasn't scared anymore. When I was younger, he was there for me, but his last few months he needed love and I wanted to be there. One of the most special memories that I had with Granddad was when I made cheesecake for Granddad because I knew he loved cheesecake. And what was so special about this moment was me feeding the cheesecake and talking to him and just spending time with him. I love Granddad so much and I'm happy now that he is in a peaceful place and not in any more pain.
Thanks so much, Lily, Sarah, Anthony, and Courtney for those beautiful memories. Well, we're now going to listen to another beautiful piece of music, and this is a tribute from Lily.
There goes my heart beating, 'cause you are the reason I'm losing my sleep. Please come back now. And there goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now. I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason. There goes my hand shaking, and you are the reason. My heart keeps bleeding, and I need you now. And if I could turn back the clock, I'd make sure the light defeated the dark. I'd spend every hour of every day keeping you safe, and I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason. I don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna hurt no more. I don't wanna cry no more. Come back, I need you. You are the reason. Closer, just a little closer. Come a little closer. I need you to hold me tonight. I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. 'Cause I need you to see that you are the reason.
Well, today, as we all look back over our lifetime shared with Steve, we certainly shouldn't reflect on our memories with any sadness or pain, but we should be warmed by the wonderful memories that we hold of him in our hearts. Steve truly has touched everyone here in his own unique and very special way, as only he knew how. As we take a moment now to watch this beautiful visual tribute that Mark has put together, bring to mind some of those wonderful memories you hold in your heart of Steve. Be warmed by those memories and be comforted by the love or the friendship that you are lucky enough to share just with him.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine look so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Ooh, you're making me live. Whatever this world can give to me, it's you, you're all I see. Ooh, you're making me live now, honey. Ooh, you're making me live. Oh, you're the best friend that I ever had. I've been with you such a long time. You're my sunshine, and I want you to know that my feelings are true. I really love you. Oh, you're my best friend. Ooh, you make me live. I've been wondering still come back to you. Still come back to you. In rain or shine, you've stood by me, God. I'm happy and whole. My best friend. Ooh, you make me live. Whenever this world is cruel to me, I got you to help me forgive. Ooh, you make me live now, honey. Ooh, you make me live. Oh, you're the first one when things turn out bad. You know I'll never be lonely. You're my only one, and I love the things. I really love the things that you do. Oh, you're my best friend. Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Such amazing memories. Thank you so much, Mark, for that beautiful tribute. Well, those of us who shared life with Steve, I know, will always remember him, each in our own very individual and deeply personal way. It might be a thought or a feeling, or even something of Steve that we may see in our own reflection. Whatever it may be, we should hold on to it, because if we can do that, then Steve will always remain with us. I know everyone here today will agree that as we gather to say farewell to Steve, it's so important that we do take a moment to give thanks for his life. So let us take this moment now to bow our heads. We give thanks today for all the ways in which Steve became special and precious to each of us who knew him, for the values and the standards that he set himself and lived by, for Steve's sense of what was good and right and decent, for his warmth, his generosity, his love and his humour, for every life that Steve enriched and all that he invested of himself in our lives. Today we give thanks for the glorious treasury of memories that are now ours to keep, to hold on to and to enjoy. All those moments that were deep, special and personal, and the times that rang with laughter and fun, but also for the ordinary days of discovering each other a little more, when affection and love, trust and respect grew and were deepened. We give thanks for Steve's courage shown in the face of adversity and for his life well lived. And now we find comfort in knowing that he has found peace. For those who may like to join me in the Lord's Prayer, you're welcome to do so. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, I'd now like to invite Jeff to come forward to share a reading with us. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks. It's always an honour and a privilege to be able to come and share on such occasion as this, and I reflect on, I guess, some of the history that I've connected with, and spent time with the Carson and Emmett clan, which is many of you here, and the opportunities that I've had in doing baptisms and funerals and weddings, which about 20 years ago we had a beautiful wedding in your backyard. So for Steve and Doreen. So I think about today and about Steve and all of the memories that enriched our lives because of Steve. I was even sitting there and today thinking about the weather and thinking, oh no, it's going to be pouring, it's going to be terrible and so on, and we've been hoping that it's not going to be a problem. But I was thinking, it's a great day for landscaping. And, Steve would be out there and the soil would be right and ready to work with. And even while I was sitting there, I was seeing some little blue wrens flitting in and out of the bushes. And, those sort of memories Steve would take. And so sometimes I would say, if you're out potting one day, you're potting some new plants, think of Steve. If you see a bird and you encounter a bird in some way, think of Steve. If you're eating chocolate, think of Steve. Or cheesecake, I heard there too. So there's a lot of moments that you can take that allow us to reflect on the love of Steve that he has given us today. I'm going to share a short poem that's in your orders of service. You can follow it with me, or you can quietly reflect as I read it. So let's think of Steve as we listen to this together. When tomorrow starts without me. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes filled with tears for me, I wish you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of the many things we did not get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you. Each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. When tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand. An angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. So when tomorrow starts without me, do not think we're apart. For every time you think of me, remember I'm right here in your heart.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Well, before I conclude the final parts of Steve's service here this morning, I know the family have warmly invited everyone to join them in the function room, where they'd love you to come back and share some of the special memories and stories of your time spent with Steve with all of his family. Well, dearest Steve, Dad, Poppy Steve and Grandad, you were known and respected by so many throughout your life. And bound by all the same love here today, we say now our farewell. The memory of you, Steve, will live on in all our hearts always. We have only to think of you or to hear your name to remind us that you will always be near. Steve, your life we honour, and your memory we all cherish. In grief at your death, but in gratitude for your life and for the privilege of sharing life with you, we all say thank you and farewell. Rest now at the end of your days, Steve. Rest in the hearts and minds of those who love you. Family and friends, as we conclude Steve's service with a final piece of music, I'm going to invite Steve's family to come forward to place their floral tributes as we make our way from the chapel. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand?
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can come forward once the family have left the chapel.
On the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye, country road. place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hours. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads, take me home. Country roads. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads,
Yeah, you will.